the Fantastic Four. Let's go through the characters, their powers, their connections to each other, and then also some comic book recommendations. Let's start with the leader of the team, Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic. Reed is a scientist and inventor and is considered one of the smartest men in the Marvel Universe. He's actually smarter than both Tony Stark and Bruce Banner, to put it into perspective as to how intelligent he is. Reed's powers are that essentially his body is incredibly stretchy and incredibly bendy, meaning that he can basically shape his body into absolutely anything he needs at the time. Reed's wife is Sue Storm, aka the Invisible Woman. Sue is incredibly intelligent in her own right, with a doctorate in archaeology and also extensive studies in linguistics, history, biology, diplomacy, and also genetics. She also runs a thing known as the Future Foundation, which is basically a school for incredibly gifted children, and has served as an undercover agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And she was so good at being an undercover agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Reed never even noticed that she was working as a spy at the time. Sue's powers are entirely light-based, meaning that she can turn invisible and also create force fields, and due to the fact that her force fields are light based, it means that anybody who can control matter cannot actually penetrate those force fields, making her an incredibly powerful person to have on team during a fight. Sue's younger brother is Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch. He was only a teenager when the cosmic rays transformed him and essentially gave him the ability to control ambient heat energy and also the ability to transform his body into a fiery plasma-like state. Essentially, he flames on and becomes a literal human torch, hence his superhero name. This power also gives Johnny the power to fly. Outside of being the Human Torch, Johnny is an exceptional mechanic. He has also had a string of romances throughout his time in the comics, and also very much lives up to that cool uncle / annoying younger brother trope. Possibly the most iconic member of the Fantastic Four though is Ben Grimm / The Thing. Ben has been best friends with Reed Richards since high school. He's also a very accomplished Air Force pilot as well as astronaut, hence why Reed wanted Ben to pilot the ship into space in the first place. The powers Ben got are a little bit different from everybody else in the sense that it mutated his entire body, making him into this rocky being with huge amounts of strength and endurance. It's affected his skin as well as his organs, completely transforming every single part of him. This has also made Ben functionally immortal, as his rock form doesn't actually age. And while Ben may seem like this very gruff, very serious character, he has actually got an absolute heart of gold and spends a lot of time throwing sarcastic comments at everybody else in the team as well as everybody else he encounters. The four of them make up the Fantastic Four, but there are two other people that I should also mention here, and that is Franklin and Valeria Richards, aka the children of Reed and Sue. I'm going to start with Franklin because he is the oldest and also because he is the most relevant to this explainer, as he is going to be in Fantastic Four First Steps. And Franklin is one of the most powerful people in the entire Marvel Universe. He's actually so powerful and there is so much lore surrounding him that he actually deserves his own video, which I will be making in the next coming weeks. But what I will say right now is that he is a mutant, meaning that he was born with his powers unlike his parents who were mutated later, and also that he is a reality warper, sort of like Scarlet Witch and also Billy Maximoff, but 1,000 times more powerful. And also, as a fun little fact for you, and also a connection to Scarlet Witch and Billy Maximoff, Franklin's first ever nanny was Agatha Harkness herself. Franklin's little sister is Valeria Richards, and she did not come into the world that easily. She was actually conceived within the negative zone, which is basically another dimension within the Marvel Universe, and as she was coming to term and Sue was preparing to give birth to her, she started giving out a lot of radiation. At the time, Reed didn't actually know if he was going to be able to save Sue or the baby, and in the end they had to call in Dr. Doom to help out. Dr. Doom ended up using a mixture of science and magic, as he usually does, to help bring Valeria into the world, and as a reward he was allowed to actually name her, hence the name Valeria. The name Valeria meant a lot to Doom because that was the name of his first love. And ever since then, Valeria and Doom have had a little bit of a connection with each other, to the point where Valeria will actually call Doom Uncle Doom. And this is actually despite the fact that Dr. Doom is usually actually a villain of the Fantastic Four and has attacked her family multiple times over the years. In terms of powers, Valeria doesn't actually have any powers per se, but she she is incredibly intelligent, to the point where she is actually more intelligent than Reed. And Valeria has proven her intelligence multiple times over the years by helping her dad in the lab, and also actually helping solve various battle crises since she was 3 years old. And with that explanation out of the way, let's now get into the comic book recommendations. The first thing I've got to mention is the Fantastic Four Epic Collection. This is a fantastic place to start because this literally goes right back to the beginning of the Fantastic Four in their first ever issues and follows them through all the way through to the 80s. There is admittedly a few volumes missing at the moment in the middle, so you will be missing a few stories, but if you do want to go right back to the beginning of the Fantastic Four and read from there, you cannot go wrong with starting with the Epic Collection. If you're someone who wants a more modern story and you don't want to go through hundreds of back issues, you can also read Fantastic Four Life Story. This gives a fantastic overview of the characters and also Galactus, and it's actually set in a completely different universe and follows the characters in real time, so they age as they should have done if they had been in our world. And while this is set in a different universe, it does still give you a really good grounding in the characters, their connections to each other, as well as the villains that they are usually facing, and also how they deal with those villains. And also it's only like 6 issues long, so it's a really quick read if you do not have time to read hundreds of issues like I said. If you do want a longer storyline but you want a more modern setting, definitely check out Fantastic Four by Jonathan Hickman. This one has a slightly confusing reading order in the sense that about midway through you do have the series splitting off into 2 runs called FF and Fantastic Four, and you are bouncing between the 2 issue by issue, which can be a little bit confusing, but this is still so well worth the read. This is absolutely fantastic. It features the children as well, so it's a really good way to know the entire Fantastic Four family. It's also considered one of the greatest Fantastic Four runs ever, and also served as partial inspiration for the Fantastic Four First Steps movie. So if you want to read something that feels like the movie before you actually go and see it, you should definitely check out this run. And finally, if you do want something more ongoing, you can also check out the Ryan North run. This is the current Fantastic Four run, and it's actually been designed to be really new reader accessible. So if you just want to know what the team is up to right now, definitely give this one a read. And that is the end of my Fantastic Four explanation and comic book recommendations video. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me if there's any team or specific character you want me to go into more detail for, so I can get working on that. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos and my explainers and everything else, please do click subscribe. But until next time everyone, happy reading!